Thank you, Dr. Werner. By the way, he'll be here all week if you want more of the routine. Good morning, one and all, and thank you, Dr. Werner, and your staff for the tremendous and leadership that you provide at the FSSA and to the state of Indiana. I too have been looking forward to this day for quite some time. I'm just so pleased to participate in this most important event established by one of my predecessors, Lieutenant Governor Becky Skillman. You may know that Becky rightly wanted to acknowledge in some special way, wanted to acknowledge the contributions that our senior citizens, Hoosiers, that have been giving back to their community in different ways throughout so many years in the way of volunteer service. So in 2008, the Golden Hoosier program was launched with the support and assistance of FSSA's Division of Aging. In the past decade, as the good doctor alluded to, my work both inside and outside of state government has given me the opportunity to travel the state. I've been to all 92 counties more than once, including the hometowns of our recipients, and tried to have kept in perpetual motion in an attempt to be able to be accessible and to know what's going on in each and every community. And I've obviously had the opportunity to meet very special people along the way. Some people call them older. I'm now forever going to be calling them Golder Hoosiers. Still very enthusiastically involved in the lives of their communities, as I said, in a myriad of ways. And I've just seen the work that you all have done in schools and at libraries and at hospitals, at churches, at welcome centers, and the list goes on and on and on. And we'll hear a little bit more about that today. But I've just continued to see how this service and this activity not just contributes, but contributes to the vibrancy and the good health of the people and places that really define what Hoosier hospitality is all about. And that is our calling card. And it embodies really our Hoosier spirit of caring and of giving back. And I know that for many of you, what you've been doing by way of community service, you've been doing most of your lives. And I don't know how you got to this day and this hour. Maybe you were raised this way, or maybe you had an experience along life's journey that got you involved in the ways that you are today. But regardless of how and why you got here at this assembly, now in the exciting second half of your lives with the obligations of maybe full-time jobs or raising a family behind you, it seems that you've even found more time somehow to fill your life by fulfilling other people's lives through your desire to serve. And like me and probably most people who will not be receiving this award today, I just don't feel worthy to be in this group of distinguished honorees today. I kind of feel lazy, to tell you the truth, in comparison. And I'm a happily married man, but I'm going to try to pick up 2 new girlfriends here today after having just a couple conversations. Although I understand Marie quit driving at age 95, but she in December celebrated her 100th birthday, and I'm partial to older women. So Marie, I'm keeping an eye on you. So with that, let's get right to it. And on behalf of all Hoosiers, I want to extend our deep and sincere appreciation for all that each and every one of our recipients have contributed, and for continuing day in and day out, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, to being the role models that you are. So with that, let's present the Golden Hoosier Awards to these special and select men and women. Thank you all for being here today.
All right, so just so everybody is aware, we'll be going through in alphabetical order, and we have a ramp over to my right, which will be your left. And so feel free, as you anticipate your name being called, to begin to make your way up there so that you can be as comfortable as you can be coming up that ramp. So our first Golden Hoosiers Award winner is Mr. Ron Ablanip. Do you know how much I've practiced that name? And I still got it wrong. Mr. Ablanip is from Batesville, Indiana. He was nominated by Guy Shane. He's also known as Santa Claus because he's been playing that role for 60 years since he took over the duties from his grandmother when he was just 17. He's been bringing joy to the children of Batesville on Christmas Eve for 4 generations. Ron has been volunteering at the Knights of St. John for 45 years and with the Knights of Columbus for 17 years. He heads up the Geezer Golf Association and volunteered as a teacher at Ivy Tech for 7 years. Mr. Ablanip. Our next nominee, or award winner rather, is Mary Brooks of Huntington, Indiana. She was nominated by Jean Germand. Ms. Brooks has been serving the Huntington community for 65 years in one capacity or another, whether she's been acting as a board member for the Huntington County Historical Society, volunteering on the Forks of the Wabash Historic Park Project, or acting as chairman of the Pioneer Festival. She continues to be very busy. It is said that she has a heart that never stops giving. As a longtime member of her church, she has helped with Vacation Bible School, traveled on mission trips, worked to send needed items to troops in Afghanistan, and arranged to send 500 boxes of crayons to Afghan children. Never hesitating to take on difficult tasks, all citizens of Huntington have benefited from Mary's work. Our next award winner, I would say, are actually award winners, and we'd like to honor Richard and Susan Brooks of Michigan City, Indiana. They were nominated by Rod Kitchen. Richard and Sue have spent many years volunteering in outreach programs through their church. As a couple, through prison fellowship, they have led marriage seminars at Lakeside, Johnson County, Madairyville, Terre Haute, and the Indiana Women's Prison. Richard and Susan have been volunteering at Westville Correctional Facility since 1983, coordinating and teaching weekly Bible studies, semi-annual seminars, periodic special events, and training new volunteers. Susan's volunteer experiences also include tutoring children in reading and working at St. Anthony's Hospital Guild. Together, they are happily serving and volunteering their time and talents in numerous prisons. Mr. and Mrs. Brooks. Ellen Byers of West Lafayette, Indiana is our next award winner, and she was nominated by Cindy Alt, David Byers, Mary Rice, and Carolyn Bescock. Serving her church and community in West Lafayette for nearly 65 years, Ellen Byers shows her pride in being a Hoosier when traveling by introducing herself as, "Hi, I'm Ellen from Indiana." I love that. Growing up on a dairy farm during the Depression developed her work ethic, which she has used to help wherever a need exists. Ellen contributes to her church's music program and works tirelessly with the United Methodist Women's Group. She has served in many capacities over the years, including working in the food pantry, knitting prayer shawls, and making meals for the homeless and for homeless families in transition. A 10-year 4-H member, Ellen also continues to support the county fair as well as the Purdue Musical Organization. Mrs. Byers. She has a cheering section. Marie Castor of Kokomo, Indiana, nominated by Cindy Wagner, is our next award winner. And as has already been mentioned, Ms. Castor is actually our first centenarian this year. Ms. Castor has been a volunteer at St. Vincent Hospital in Kokomo for 39 years and has done just about every volunteer job there is. The volunteer coordinator at the hospital describes her as reliable, energetic, and a go-getter. Marie also volunteers her time at UAW 292, preparing chicken noodles for Faith United Methodist Church. She's a Kokomo native and retired from Delco Electronics after 30 years of service. In 2015, she joined the Centenarian Club. She said, "Volunteering is really rewarding. I get more out of it than the people I help." Marie's dedication to others has been admired by her community and made a lasting impression. Thank you. Mr. David Court of Lakeville, nominated by Pam Harris of Real Services, is our next award winner. David has been volunteering since he began taking children to summer camp more than 57 years ago. He headed up the Lakeville Lions Club speech and hearing program, raising money to provide eyeglasses and hearing aids to those in need. David has sat on the board of the Salvation Army in St. Joseph County for 35 years and has spent 20 years volunteering with Habitat for Humanity. He is a Marine Corps veteran and also volunteers with the Marines' Toys for Tots programs. Thank you, Mr. Court. Betty Green of South Bend, Indiana, also nominated by Real Services. Betty is an advanced registered nurse devoted to educating diverse populations across the country on diabetes and cancer. She has been a board member of the Susan G. Komen Foundation, a speaker and executive board member of the National Breast Cancer Coalition, chairperson of the IRB Investigational Review Board, a chairperson for the Northern Indiana Cancer Research Consortium, and a volunteer researcher and advocate for ASCO Pathways Committee, the largest cancer research group in the U.S. When President Clinton was in office, he appointed Betty to a cancer board to educate people on cancer. Currently, she works with volunteer nurses to provide flu shots to senior citizens and is an active member of Sugar and Spice, an organization that provides education on proper etiquette, dress, and speaking in public to inner-city girls ages 6 to 10. Betty is a compassionate leader who strives every day to make a difference for others. This is great. Mary Ellen Lamar of Hagerstown, nominated by Tony Foster of Area 9 Agency on Aging, is our next award winner. Mrs. Lamar has been a dedicated volunteer throughout her life, especially since her 2003 retirement from teaching elementary school. There are few families in the community Mary Ellen has not touched in some way through preparing meals during illness or loss or sending an encouraging note. For nearly 20 years, she helped in nearby hospital gift shops and upon retirement worked as a volunteer counselor for a crisis pregnancy organization. Mary Ellen has served in many volunteer capacities over the years in churches to which she belonged, including distributing Bibles, traveling to work in church relief work camp, and the women's jail ministry. She also spends time tutoring children and is involved with many other service organizations. Mary Ellen believes that being a volunteer helps the volunteer too. Couldn't agree more. Anita McAllister of Granger, also nominated by Real Services, is our next Golden Hoosier Award winner. Anita's tireless volunteer work spans nearly 40 years and has affected many older adults throughout the state. Much of her work focuses on bringing awareness of the issues faced by many aging Hoosiers to the forefront by listening to the voices of seniors and conveying their messages to state legislators. Using public forums such as meal sites as her platform, Anita has consistently assured that older adults and their caregivers stay informed on issues that impact their quality of life. Anita has served on South Bend's local area agency on aging, where she remains active on the advocacy committee and the Governor's Commission on Aging. And I will note here that I have worked personally with Anita on the Commission on Aging and thank her very much. She was a very active, involved commission member. So if that's not enough to keep this very active 86-year-old busy, she has also taught whitewater rafting for several years. Also nominated by Real Services is Wyatt Mick of Mishawaka, Indiana. A board member of South Bend's Real Services for 50 years, Wyatt Mick knows the meaning of commitment. He has provided the agency with consistent support and expertise, helping the growth of the agency through community outreach. An attorney by profession, he combines his knowledge and skill with his passion for helping people. In addition to providing pro bono work as an attorney, concentrating his efforts on serving clients ages 65 and older, Wyatt has helped create and build programs targeting the needs of older adults and low-income citizens of northern Indiana. His expertise has guided programs to feed the needy and assist with services to help them remain safely independent in their own homes for as long as possible. He has also found the time to serve on Indiana's Commission on Aging, the Mishawaka Lions Club, and the South Bend Symphony. It's no wonder why it is described as passionate. Ms. Betty Monks of Winchester, nominated by State Representative Greg Beamer? Betty Monks works tirelessly on tracking intake documents for her church's community food pantry 3 days a week and still finds time to serve on multiple church committees. She has also been a hospital volunteer in many capacities, including serving on the auxiliary gift shop treasurer for over 30 years. Betty now drives cancer patients to out-of-town appointments. Certainly not one to sit on her hands, she finds the time to make the best pancakes at the Randolph County Ag Days Farmer Breakfast and 4-H Fair. When told of her nomination for this award, she simply said, "You've got the wrong person." I don't think so. Betty certainly serves as an inspiration to many who see this 88-year-old remaining active and giving of her time to feed the hungry and assist those in need as a way of fulfilling her mission to serve her community and her faith. Thank you, Betty. Mr. Michael Newton of Indianapolis, nominated by Amy Berkemeyer. After retiring from teaching junior high school, Mr. Newton has volunteered at the St. Vincent de Paul Food Pantry since 2002. A humble man, he thinks no one notices how much he does for his community. He has taken refugees to purchase food for their families, tutored refugee children, taken parents shopping at Christmas to buy gifts for their children, and picks up furniture and medical supplies from local hospitals to distribute to refugees, schools, colleges, and missions. It is said that Mike sees the Lord in each and every person, but his heart especially goes out to those who are hurting and have a need. People are always very willing to help this community servant. When he writes an announcement in the church bulletin asking for volunteers, he usually ends up with a very large group of people ready to help him. Thank you, Mr. Newton. Our next award winner is Jean Nowaski of Vincennes, Indiana, nominated by Patty Dryman. Jean has volunteered with the Generations Area 13 Agency on Aging for the past 12 years. At Generations, Jean is the co-coordinator of the Little Elves Workshop, a program that enables over 750 young children to shop for small gifts for their adult caregivers. She also volunteers with the Children's Vision Screening Program and the Christmas Angel Tree Program and serves on the Volunteer Advisory Council and with the Expired Drug Toss Program. At the Good Samaritan Hospital Cancer Center, Jean greets patients and provides support. As a cancer survivor herself, Jean serves as the team captain for the annual Relay for Life. In her spare time, Jean volunteers as a tour guide at the St. Francis Xavier Cathedral Library and as an usher at the Red Skelton Performing Arts Center. Thank you, Mrs. Nowaski. Mr. John Place of Richmond, also nominated by Tony Foster. John has spent the past 5 years donating his time and talents to the Special Olympics. A senior Olympian himself, John is involved in coaching basketball, softball, and track and field. In addition to his coaching duties, John spends many hours soliciting donations to Special Olympics, including organizing an annual golf outing. John also mentors the competitors by interacting with them and sharing his life experiences in sports. He also volunteers at a local senior housing complex and at the local food pantry. Thank you, Mr. Place. Ms. Mary Lou Powers of Dillsboro, nominated by Lifetime Resources, the Area Agency on Aging 12. Ms. Powers has been involved in her community her entire life. She began her banking career in Dillsboro after graduating from the area high school. She has served on the Dillsboro Town Council since 2001 in several capacities: president, member of the Beautification and Parks Committees, and the Planning and Zoning Committee. She also organizes the History Room at the local public library and contributes to the local newspaper, which is distributed in several southeast Indiana counties. If that weren't enough, Mary Lou was also a founding member of the Dillsboro Emergency Squad and holds numerous roles in the Dillsboro Civic Club, which plans community events. It is said that all one needs to do is ask Mary Lou. She can't say no to doing what she can to set the standard for community service for both men and women. Mrs. Mary Lou Powers. Marilyn Robertson of Ellettsville, Indiana, was nominated by Mela Hatchett. Mrs. Robinson has spent the past 65 years doing what makes her truly happy, volunteering. She has spent time in several states organizing church nurseries and senior groups, working with students with mental challenges, providing emergency shelter for foster children, preparing food for the homeless, and delivering meals to shut-ins. Marilyn worked as a receptionist at the Enright Center at the Area 10 Agency on Aging in Ellettsville, which provides active adults with numerous activities to help them age with dignity and live longer, stronger lives. Currently, she provides temporary care in her home to individuals recovering from medical procedures who are unable to care for themselves, and transportation for those with medical appointments who are unable to drive. Marilyn's lifetime of service has certainly made a huge impact on children and adults in several communities across the country. And I'd like to add, in speaking with Marilyn before, she informed me that she's actually in the process of moving to Kentucky, where she will continue to serve in a caregiver role, continuing her service. So thank you. Mr. William Sisson of Corey, Indiana, nominated by Gloria Wetnight. Mr. Sisson has been helping his community and organizations in the Wabash Valley for 25 years. He has served on the boards of the Clay County and the Wabash Valley Community Foundations and on the board of the Utilities District of Western Indiana, REMC. He serves on the Clay County Redevelopment Commission and on the board of the West Central Indiana Economic Development District. He volunteers with the March of Dimes and is a team advisor for the Special Olympics. Bill serves as a member of the Area 7 Agency on Aging Advisory Committee and previously spent 25 years advising and mentoring the Rose-Hulman Institute of Technology Sigma Nu chapter. Thank you, Mr. Sisson. Carol Vassbinder of Terre Haute, also nominated by Gloria Wetnight. Mr. Vassbinder has been involved all of his life with helping organizations that help people in need. He is active in Alcoholics Anonymous and has sat on the boards of the NAACP, the Minority Health Coalition of Vigo County, and United Campus Ministries. He volunteers for CASA as a court-appointed special advocate and for the Tobacco Prevention and Cessation Coalition, and he is the community liaison with CASey, Chances and Services for Youth. Carol is also an elder at Central Christian Church Disciples of Christ. Thank you, Mr. Vassbinder. Nell Warda of Indianapolis was nominated by Allison Barber. Nell's early contribution to society was as a pianist. She has fond memories of performing with the Chicago Symphony. She was honored to play for Eleanor Roosevelt in a private performance. In her career, Nell was employed by the Gary School Service and worked there for 40 years, but her true love was being the minister of music for 50 years at Plymouth Congregational Church. In addition to her love of music, Nell has a deep passion to feed the homeless. She also loves animals and often cares for stray and homeless dogs and cats. Currently, Nell organizes her family in a monthly meal preparation program for the homeless in Indy. She provides 80 meals and handwritten notes to be distributed to those in need and contributes to the hunger relief ministries at Second Presbyterian Church. Nell is a true inspiration to all as she continues her crusade to make a positive impact in the lives of those she touches. Thank you, Nell. And our last, but certainly not our least, Golden Hoosier Award winner is Marilyn Wamans of Mishawaka, also nominated by Real Services. Marilyn was raised by parents who wanted to make a difference, so she was exposed to volunteerism at an early age. Marilyn founded the Penn Township Fire Department Ladies Auxiliary, which provided food, clothing, and shelter to those in need. She has also volunteered with the United Religious Community Advocacy Center and with the MAC Food Pantry. Marilyn helped to form Stone Soup Community, which provides support for Mishawaka, Granger, and Osceola residents, and she has volunteered with the Albright Church as an advocate for the needy. Mrs. Wamans. So that brings us to the end of our list of Golden Hoosiers Award winners. And it brings us to the closure of the program. But if you could, I'd like to just ask you to acknowledge one more time these 20 amazing individuals. That concludes our program today. Please help yourself to reception or to snacks that are left. Mingle with each other, and thank you again for everything that you do.
Great job.
I need some water.
Oh, do you?